Hey guys, I guess I'm live, so it'll probably save. For whatever reason, whenever I go live, when I just impromptu live, it just marks it unlisted, and it doesn't even ask me to like put it public. So I don't really know like how to change that. I'm gonna have to get all new apps, um, all kind of stuff, or something to make this happen. But hey guys, anyways, what's up? Michael Roll here. So today I actually spiritual medium channel, life coach, ascension guide, stuff like this. And so today I have a new being that has been with me all day, and interestingly, it's an Anu. It's one of the Anus, and it's not just one of the Anus. So the name is Annunnakten, and I wasn't sure. I was actually getting into my Native American history. I'm part Sioux. My great grandpa was like 100%. I think Oglala Sioux. When I say Oglala, it resonates more than the Lakota. But the Lakotas, I know, were the more intense, fierce tribe, or the warriors. They both just ring so true. So, and I got the word elder, which is cool. I've had that word my whole life. It's been like, I'm an elder, and I've always wanted to be an elder, right? And then you think like, well, what does that even mean in this world today? Like, so, so that's what, the insights that were coming, and so I connected it, and I wanted to make sure, if it was actually, who it was, and interestingly, I noticed the on right away. I'm always on the lookout for those names of, the N's and the ons and the Enkis and the Enlils and all these people, and the Anunnakis, and right. So, I noticed it was an on, but I was at work, and I was trying to determine what his name actually was, and I just kept, and it came like in a Native American way. And so I asked him, I said, are you a Native American? Were you here as a Native American? And I got a real resounding no. But I got a hint of yes. So I think there's a connection there between that time and then Egypt. So I know that he's connected on that, like those timelines. Like what he was explaining is that, okay, and then, well, I'll explain all of it. So, and then I asked, I didn't realize it was Anunnak, up until like Annunnakten. I didn't even realize it until, like I got the whole name, and I was like, okay, cool. And then I was thinking about the name, and I was seeing it spelled in my head, and I was, talking about it. And the whole time I'm thinking of Imhotep from like The Mummy, right? The movie The Mummy. And I'm picturing this whole time, but totally different name. So, for whatever reason. So that was the connection to Egypt. But I have that feeling like he was one of the space guys, one of the gods, that came down. So, the message was really, it was really powerful. The message was, look at what's happening, right? Look at the world. Okay. Let's see. Really, really powerful being. So, and I asked him. I said, are you like an Anunnaki, or are you, and it was interesting because I got a pulling back, but I got like a definite yeah. So, and then what I got was a big picture. Like, so I said, what I said was, are you a descendant of the Anunnaki? And that was the no. But it was like, like that's the area, right? It's like, it's right, you're getting there. And I said, okay, and because I saw a smile, it was a sly smile that he gave me back, and then it was, it wasn't, it was way more than that. So I don't want to just say that it's, the one, the only, the spokesperson for the Anunnaki, right? But the reality of that is there's many, there's many for many reasons on many dimensions and many levels, and he's definitely one. He's definitely not just wasn't just an incarnation being. He's definitely strong enough to encompass the entire Anunnaki. So it feels more or less like he's an elder. There you go. There's that word again. He's one of the originals who started it, and and there's a lot of love. You know what I mean? There's a lot of not what I think most people expect when they're starting off. When you connect to quote unquote dark beings or whatever, because it's like the story says. They're here to spur us into action and whatnot, right? And so that's when he said, look at what's happening. Look at the world. Look at it around us. Look how everybody's starting to wake up. It's pretty interesting, isn't it? Right? And he said during his time, when he influenced, he was really, let me see what he's saying. We were trying to accomplish something that had not been accomplished yet, to its fullness. This is why there's been such disconnect and misunderstanding and tragedy and such. The perpetrators of the dark stuff or the heavy stuff that we have to go through, it's really true as they say, they're here to show us. They're here to, explain it. Somebody has to play that role in order for this to work, in order for any of us to see it, in order to be it. And it was never their intention, at least those of us who chose to play the game for the positive and loving reasons, which is what we all did. It was never the intention that it would take so long. It was never the intention, the intention of the shocking moments that are hard to handle are supposed to be the moments that are supposed to awaken your souls into the passion and the fire to stand up for what you believe in. And most people don't. So a lot of the tragedy, the darkness, the whatever that's happening, it's supposed to be, getting people to wake up and to get over it, to be fed up with it and to change. And that was how a lot of change was affected in the old system. Because of the newer vibrational beings that are here, higher vibrational beings, that is no longer necessary, and it's no longer desired, because the beings, you all are higher vibrational. So many of you know, love, and have more than enough times requested to not have to learn through the hardships, because you don't have to learn through those. But in the 3D realm, where it was positive and negative and it was all polarized, most people wouldn't move unless they had, that fire lit under them, and especially because, but then what happened was, because of the polarities intensifying on either spectrum, people were more and more inclined to stay, in their comfort zone, right? So wherever that was on the spectrum, they're just bubbling themselves. And if you look at the world nowadays, it's what everybody's been doing for, years. People are staying home. They don't trust their neighbors. They don't trust, society. They don't trust people, so everyone's kind of staying home. And even this is going to teach you all that you need each other and that you rely on each other. Okay, just give me to reference the insight I had the other day, where it came to me that, what's happening with this thing that's going around in the world, and we're all kind of having to stay at home. It's, it's I hope that it's making people realize how much we depend on each other. It came to, my mind that it was like, okay, so, I had that thought. I was like, what if we all just everybody's trying to figure out what to do. Stay home, don't stay home. Okay, what if we all just went back to work, and whoever can't make it because they're not taking care of themselves and they're not healthy enough doesn't make it? And don't get me wrong, I don't want anybody to have to get hurt, suffer, go away. I don't want any of that to happen. I want us all to be able to, drink an elixir and nectar and live forever and be purified. Like I would love that. But that idea, comes through. And I said, what if we all just went, and then and then it was, that came in, well, you have to be responsible, because, they're saying, stay home yourself, even if you're healthy, because now you're going to influence someone else and you might get someone else sick, and it's like, well, how the heck are we supposed to monitor that? If anyone's walking around like as a carrier, and has no symptoms and is totally healthy as an ox, and then they're passing it on to everyone that they run into, it's like, how are we going to manage that, guys? Like, seriously, we're all just going to stay inside? Like, you can't manage that. Like, what's going to happen? You just need to go back out and go to work and go to places, and whatever happens, happens. Because guess what? Whatever happens, happens anyways in life. I mean, look at it. You get hit by a bus tomorrow. There's more people die from car accidents every year. Are we all going to not drive cars? You know what I mean? Are we all going to not so I hate to sound harsh, but why don't we just go back out, make sure our world is functioning, and our economy and supplies, and we have food and stuff. And then, if you're not healthy enough and you don't make it through the sickness, then maybe you just don't, so, yeah, what else was there? Impromptu lives. Um, let's see. Um, totally lost my track, guys. Hold on. And so the point being that, I hope that so then if you're responsible for whether or not someone else gets sick, you know what I mean? Like, how hard is that to really handle, to really, to monitor, like I said. So hopefully the lesson beyond what's happening, hopefully people will see beyond it and realize this is how much we rely on each other every single day. Every single day we walk around crisscrossing paths of people constantly, and we don't even give it a second thought. We don't think that, oh, this person's energy field that just walked by me, now I'm going to walk through it. We don't even think of stuff like that. We don't wonder why I feel this way. Well, because that person just came up in through your field while you were in the park, and they just messed with your vibration. That's why you feel that way. Even if it's 10 minutes later and you're like, I just went for a walk in the park. Why does it feel off? Why is something? It's because maybe that person that just walked through at that one time, you were like, oh, and then it triggered you, and then maybe a part of you is still holding on to that, but, and again, but it's that awareness and mindfulness. Like, are we really that hyper aware of every single little thing that's happening around us? And no, we're not. Can you feel the your digestion, every single time you eat something? It's like, well, maybe here or there, but you're not following. I mean, what they say, we got 60,000 miles of intestines in us. 60,000 miles, that's a long time just to follow it through your gut. But you can develop those sensitivities. But again, how much can we be, paying attention to? It's a lot. It can be overwhelming, but we can do it. We're capable. We have the capacity. You just have to practice and, and adapt and adjust yourself and evolve yourself, right? But it's that idea that I hope people are really getting the message, because if you look at the world, look at it in a loving way. Stop being scared of everything and everyone and some authority people that don't have authority. It's like I'm in America, and it's like everyone keeps saying government, 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 government. It's like, listen, we are the government. We made the government, the people, the government was made for and by us, the people. So every time I hear people talking about the government, it's like, it's annoying sometimes, but it's not every time, but that's us. we need to start standing up, you guys, and taking responsibility. Nobody wants responsibility. Everybody wants it all to happen for them, and nobody wants to do anything. But that's because you're exhausted, because you don't feel like you can. You know what I'm saying? And the truth is that you can, but you don't think you can. So you want to rest and relax. You want everything to just fall into place, right? But it doesn't work that way, because if you do that and you expect everyone else to fill in your space, they're not going to fill it in how you want them to. My girlfriend can't even let me do the dishes half the time because I do them wrong or whatever. Which I don't know how that could be, but I'm just washing a dish. But it's like, if you want to live as your life, you do it then, but and that's when it's sweet, because then you're not asking anybody else. You're not getting mixed signals. You're not getting someone else's idea of what they think you would like, because you're putting in what you want, exactly what you want. But that takes that responsibility, that awareness that, yes, like, you are going to affect the people that you're going to run into today, whether you talk to them or not. Whether and I've dealt with that, the whole entire time I've had, working in retail, because I'm in a whirlwind of energy and people, that's all over the place, all different levels. People who know, people who have no idea, and it's usually the latter, unfortunately. So a lot of energy, in those places, in retail places. That's why a lot of people feel that when you're in there, when people want to get out of there. People don't like shopping because they can feel that energy. They're sensitive to it, right? But most people don't know what that is. They'll at least know it's the place that they're in, and that's good. That's a start. So you've learned you're finding your locations out. Yeah, so Annunnakten, let's see, what do you got to say? So look at what's happening in your world now, and try and realize that every single thing that has been done through all the decades and all the centuries has been leading up to this point, and the points to come. There's so many of you all that are in such fear over everything that you speculate into the future that it's just going to be bad constantly all the time. So how do you ever expect to have a good outcome? So number one, you have to erase that bad timeline from your consciousness, not the world's consciousness. That's the idea of coming and saving the world. You need to save yourself. You don't have to save other people, because like I said earlier, how can someone else put into you what exactly you need? You know what it is that you need to get over in yourself. Somebody else doesn't know what goes on in your head, completely, or maybe, whatever. So you need to do that. And then when you do that, and then you become one with society, right, and you're a part of it, you're not afraid of society, you're not running away, you're not scared, you're not demonizing and pointing blame and putting fingers, and you realize you're a part of this stuff too, then you hopefully will do your part, or at least live your life, and don't pressure anybody else. That's the whole point, is freedom. It's to live my life how I want to live it, and you live it how you want to live it. And that's it. And if I want to tell you you're crazy and I don't believe you, then that's fine. If you want to tell me, then that's fine. But at the end of the day, that doesn't hurt anybody, as long as no one's getting hurt, right? So it's okay to believe what you want to believe. People say that all the time. Like, we want to be multicultural. We want to be, we have all these different cultures in the world, and if you're really not racist, well, then you're going to appreciate all of them, right? Every single one of them. And that's the variety. We're not all supposed to think the exact same way. Earth is not the same as Venus. You know what I'm saying? So even if you take this idea of racism and you put that out into the universe, they're not racist. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I'm sure that, hey, as above, so below, who's this, it's all possible, it's all infinite, right? But, it's the same thing here. Just because we're on Earth, like, we can't even get over our neighbors who look exactly like us, except for the color of their skin or something like that, or they speak another language, they have a different accent. Like, that's really not that far of a difference. Like, wait till you see the ones with 8 legs, with the face with 12 eyeballs, you see the insect beings. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, we gotta get we gotta get over ourselves as humans. Like we really gotta get over this like self-righteous self-importanceness, but then it's not to say that we're not, because we are important, but it's a humbleness. It's like, you're important, you're valuable, and then that's it. You're quiet, you do your work, you give love, and then you go home. You don't have to brag, you don't have to blow people up, you don't have to dominate and control and take over entire countries. Like, you know what I mean? Like, greatest country or not, I don't need yours. I don't need to run yours. I don't need to rule over yours. There's plenty of ways to live free on Earth, without any of this fighting or the war, the he said, she said. Quit buying it, guys. Like, oh, seriously, we're just buying everything. It's like the masks. Does anybody know that viruses are millimeter wavelengths? Do you know what that means? The masks aren't protecting you. But I mean, that's just science, right? So we're here to talk about spiritual, so let's stay with the spiritual, right? So yeah, good, right. It's all meant. It all means something, and the only way you can see the totality of what's happening and how it's going to play out is if you take yourself out of what you already think is happening. So you have to remove your human aspects in order to see spirit, see God, see whatever you want, to be with them, to walk alongside. It means you've let your human, you're okay with your human. You're at peace as your human, because every time we have an emotion and a physicality and that heaviness, and it boom, and it hits us and it drains us, it just brings us down, and it locks us in, and what does it lock us into? It locks us into the energetic impulse that we feel inside, that our senses are picking up in our brains, right? So we're locked in to an energetic vibration, right? All based off of a thought and a feeling, an emotion, So get over it, right? And realize that you don't have to fix it because it's already fixed. It already, it's like when a lot of the the earlier, coming out of 3D, and you want to make it to 5D, 5D, 6D, and you don't want to be left behind, and there was all that stuff. Well, you can't take your 3D things with you, and et cetera, and that's very true. But it doesn't mean that the 3D things are going anywhere. Now, in essence, right? They're not. Life is not as heavy as it once was. You can just, well, if you've been here some decades or whatever, you probably have the 80s, the 90s was a heavier time than it is right now. But that's what I mean in the sense of like, don't worry about losing things or losing people or losing, because the reality is it's still there. It's always still going to be there. Now if you want to you want to minimize, you want to, reduce your home, how much stuff you have or something like that, that's cool. You can, clean up the house, get rid of some things or whatever. But, it's that idea, like, it's like an addiction, you let it, it's like smoking. Say you're a smoker, you drink, you drink beer or whatever, and so you have that thought, right? The addiction says, oh, I need to have that again. It's going to make me feel better or whatever, or enjoyment, right? And even though it's kind of hurting your body over time, right? Depends. Like, I'm not, like, if you have like one beer every couple, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the addiction, So it's that mentality. So, what were we talking about? Just about the fact that, you have to break it. You have to, how? Right, like it's, okay, it's not very different, but okay, so it's like, that's like what you're saying. It's like, it's still there. Like, it's like cigarettes are still at the store. You know what I mean? But if you quit and you free yourself from them, then anytime it comes back around, you're not going to be affected by it. And I'm not saying you should get back and do it, but if you did, you know, the addiction part would be severed. So now you're stepping into, you know, your higher self, right? Let's say, and into the higher dimensions where now you see it as, okay, this is our world. It is your oyster. We do have free will and free choice. So you can go ahead and have that, buy that pack of cigarettes, but it's gonna make you feel icky. You know, it's bad for your body. It's gonna feel toxified. It's gonna feel, you know, you're gonna have to, your body's gonna keep kicking it out constantly. That's what it's constantly doing. You know, it's anything you smoke it, or drink, your body's never at a rest state. You know, it's constantly kicking that out. So you're not gonna feel good. It might be temporary, and you might, but again, you know, if you're away from the addiction, you know, you can, you know, you go out and have some drinks with some friends you haven't seen in a long time, and you have some drinks, right? It's not, you don't have to worry about it going anywhere, you know, or your 3D stuff, or your 3D friends, or your 3D family members, or your 3D, you know, items. They're really not going to go anywhere, you know, like they're still going to be here, you know, because we're all multidimensional. So no matter what dimension you're on, you know, your loved ones are still going to be here, you know, just on their various dimensions also, you know. And that's the interesting part, is we're multidimensional. We can be in this reality in different dimensions simultaneously. You know what I mean? Like it's taking limited thinking, right, and blowing the lid right off of it. You know, we were created from source, from God, whatever you want to call it, right? From the earth, from the, you know, we're connected to all of this stuff. Right? We are not just these poor me human, you know, that's it. You know, like, I don't know. You know, like, I guess that's all we are. You know, like, can't wait to get out of here. You know, it's like, well, that's where you started from, was not here. You didn't just start from here, because that wouldn't make sense. Even if you look at people, you know, like old souls and new souls. You know, there's some babies that are smarter than some adults that I know. You know, most babies are, because, you know, they're still connected and they get it. You know, they might not be in, you know, they might not be the, you know, the book smart or the whatever. You know, they haven't studied specific structured, you know, things and whatnot. But, you know, it doesn't mean they're stupid. You know? Even if they're eating dirt, you know, if you don't know not to eat it, well, you're not stupid. Like, you know, what is that? You can't blame the kid. That's funny. So yeah, but Annunnakten. Thanks for coming. Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for letting him listen, or listening to him. It's you know, he kind of pulled back a little couple times. He's kind of laughing. He's keeping his distance, interestingly enough, which you don't have to do with me. I hope he knows that. But I think he's wanting me to talk about how he's keeping his distance, because he's trying to be really gentle and really caring and compassionate and considerate, because he knows full well, you know, what's happened to, you know, humanity and whatnot, and what's all been occurring. But it's important to remember that we're all family. Yeah. And even like your human family, you know, some of them you love, some of them you might not, right? But when push comes to shove, we're here for each other, and that's what's really coming. And that's what he means when he says, "Look around." Look around the world. Look at the people. Don't look at the government. Don't look at the news. Don't look at the, you know what I mean, authority. Yeah, because anybody ever asked me if they should be authority? They're not my authority. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are we doing, guys? Like, I care about people in my life that care about me and that care about the world. You know, I don't need any other, you know, systems or anything like that, or peoples to tell me anything, right? And I think that's where we're getting. Look around, right? Look what's happening. We're all kind of getting fed up. You know, we got to stop putting blame, because it's not just one country or this country or that country, or, you know. But even then, I think we were watching the other night. It was last night, 2 nights ago, something like that. About I don't know, something on Netflix she found, and she was watching it, and then it was showing some people who are like 2 feet above sea level, and they're by the glaciers, and they're like on islands, so like their whole like country, town, city, whatever, it's gonna get wiped out. If because the president, who is actually like in, with science and whatever, I guess he was talking about, how they're melting the ice caps and all that stuff, and if it keeps rising, the water, like they're gonna be in trouble. And the one person said, "This is my home, and this is where I was born, and I am a native of this land," and whatever the name of the people were, I can't remember, and I think it started with a K, but, and she was saying, if I have to leave my land, who am I? And what about my culture? I have to go on someone else's land, who's then going to be my culture. Like she was like so distraught and so upset, and I totally felt for her, and I get where she's coming from, but it's the idea of the unity. It's the idea of like, she's so much more than just that country that you live in. We're so much more than, we need to identify ourselves with who we really are, with our souls, with our spirit. If you're identifying with spirit, well, you're way bigger than your human perspective, your human, this one human life, and in a weird way, like I felt where she was coming from, but I felt like I just wanted to like help her and like tell her, like, that doesn't mean you have to lose yourself, right? Like, if you know yourself, it doesn't matter where you go. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter where you're born. It doesn't matter, because you know who you are, and I think that's the big takeaway there, is look what's happening. It sucks that it has to be such a crude or, harsh way, but I hope people are really seeing past it. I hope people are getting over themselves, and, like I've said before, because we need to, if we're going to see what's actually happening, what's really going on, because it's, because she's like, she totally felt so bad, but there's really nothing wrong, If this isn't my land, listen, it's the same. It's got trees, it's got grass, it's the same as every other land. It's just a different climate, it's a different biome. That's it, like, come over to this one. You're still going to be who you are. Like, and then if you think of that, like, well, who are the first people to ever be on Earth? I mean, like, come on, man. Like, we've all spread out, like, for a long time, like, even the Native Americans, like, even they spread out. Even the, everybody spread out. Didn't they all come across is it the Bering Strait? It's in Alaska and Russia or something like that. It used to be connected. Like, it's like, it's just, we're worrying about so many things that we don't need to be worried about. So it's important to be able to read between the lines, and to detach yourself from the emotional trauma. That's the hardest part, because that's what's keeping everyone still here. It's like when that's a good point. It's like when I try to talk to people about spiritual stuff, on like higher level spiritual stuff or whatever, and we're all getting there, but a lot of times people, they kind of don't, they can't understand it or whatnot, He's just saying, like, we're starting to understand it, because people are being, okay, it kind of changed direction there. People are starting to understand it, and they're going to understand it more as all this stuff just happens. But once again, unfortunately, as long as people are tied to their emotions so strongly, the only way to affect people is strong emotions, is emotionally strong, strongly emotional, whatever. Um, because when there's huge amounts of fear, which is why this one, anytime you're trying to talk to somebody, you can't, it's hard to get through them because they keep going back to the fear. It's like, but what if this, but what if that, um, we believe too much in the bad outcome instead of believing in the good outcome. And that's because of what's been happening to us for a really long time, right? And so a lot of people, this is why we say a lot of people are going to need help with getting over themselves, but into who they truly are, which once done is completely satisfying. Like it's like you have to let your old self die, which sucks and it can be painful and it can hurt. But once you come out of that, it's like the caterpillar, in the cocoon. It probably sucks and it's painful, but once you come out the other side, it's all worth it. And until we get enough of the collective on that page, on that level, then we're going to have to fight against the curve, or against the, we're going to, and not fight, but we're going to have to stand. We're going to have to keep standing. For love, because love always wins, guys, no matter what. It's all just temporary, Even your pain and your happiness, right? Having a great time, tomorrow you gotta go to work, or whatever, which isn't so bad. But if you're like, you're hanging out with friends, you're having a really good time, it's gonna end. Like, it's. And so it's really, it's navigating life. It's walking through life, without worrying about, can I take that with me or can I not? Or is that dragging me down or is that not dragging me? Well, just put it down, and then if, and go feel happy, go do your thing. And then, if one day it pops back up, you say, hey, I want to go do that thing, and then look for it. And if it's still there, which it probably will be, then go for it. Archangel Sadkiel said that to me, the one time where he was just, I did that video a while back, but it was such a calming, he's so calming to me, gosh. But he said about how, like it's your oyster. Like this is, because he's Zadkiel, he transmutes, the heavy stuff into the light. So he's just like, from his perspective, it's like all of this is just to play with. He's a master transmuter. There isn't anything that he's worried about happening or interacting with because he just transmutes it, But that doesn't mean to say that there are things that he willingly would ever choose to do because that vibration is too low. So he would not choose necessarily everything willingly. It is important for us to maintain our space, otherwise we lose it. And he's pointing all of us. Same thing with us. Same thing with humans. If you don't maintain your space, you're going to lose it to something else. So how can I be an Archangel Zadkiel if I'm, vacationing in, HE double hockey sticks or something? How can I, be here for all of us in all of creation if I'm not? Like it's really simple, right? It's simple. I love them. God, it's so simple, but it's profound because, again, are we paying attention, right? Okay, so thank you, Annunnakten. It's like Anunnaki, but Annunnakten. He's like, I'm getting ambassador, but then it's like, because he encompasses all of them, the whole energy of it all. But he's also not like, he's not the ruler of them. Because nobody rules anybody in the heavens. We're all free, we're all individual, we're all God sovereign free. It's only in the lower realms that duality starts to become apparent. And it's only apparent because of the beings that are there. Because if you come to the higher realms, the duality doesn't exist. Why? Because in the higher realms, like Zadkiel, you have to stay there. You can't, who's going to be there if you leave, if you change it, if you bring, so, yeah, that's cool. We got to do our part too, right? So, okay, guys, thank you, Annunnakten. That was pretty cool. I'd love to do it again, give some more insight. I'll spend more time channeling with him and see what else he's got to say. But this one kind of came while I was at work. But I love doing this, guys. I just, if I have time, I'm going to, hop on and yeah, I like it because I feel bad I didn't make it Sunday. I'll definitely be here this Sunday, but it's funny because anytime I say like, oh yeah, it's getting kind of regular, I'll be here every Sunday, and then it didn't happen, and I'm just like, ugh, so it'll be there soon, fully. But it is getting easier, more fun, more spaces getting carved out with spirits, so I appreciate that. But it looks like I'm going to have to be hopping in impromptu a lot more often, at least until I can get better structure around things. So much love, much light, guys, and I will see you this Sunday. I have like 2 weeks of notes that I've been writing down and insights and lots of stuff to talk about. I think it's going to be a pretty long session, so might go a whole 2 hours this time. So much love, much light. Thanks again, Zadkiel, Annunnakten. That was cool. So, all right. Bye, guys.